Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss Ralph Breaks the Internet, featuring the voices of John C. Reilly, Sarah Silverman, Gal Gadot, Taraji P. Henson, Jack McBrayer, Jane Lynch, and Alan Tudyk, and directed by Phil Johnston and Rich Moore. Let's just get straight into this, just because this is the movie that everybody's been wanting to see all weekend, so here it comes. It's been 6 years since the events of Wreck-It Ralph, and Ralph, returning voice of John C. Reilly, and Vanellope von Schweetz, returning voice of Sarah Silverman, hang out with one another before the arcade opens for the day, and they've been doing that for the past 6 years. Suddenly a plug comes in, and what's the game? Or it's not a game, it's Wi-Fi. Means the internet, and I enjoyed that sequence, pretty much thus far. Meanwhile, Vanellope plays her game and suddenly goes on a new track that Ralph made up on his own and causes Sugar Rush's steering wheel to break while the game is in progress. And the Sugar Rush kids become homeless until Fix-It Felix Jr., returning voice of Jack McBrayer, and his wife Calhoun, returning voice of Jane Lynch, adopts them. Their lives become a living stink. And Felix goes to Ralph to Talpers and asks about family until Ralph gets an idea of going to the internet to get a steering wheel to save Vanellope's game. And I really like these characters much better here than the last movie so far. Ralph and Vanellope arrive to the internet and searches for Sugar Rush's steering wheel to ask knows more, voiced by Alan Tudyk. A different character this time for the actor to play, and I really enjoyed that character more than King Candy in my opinion. I think he's funny. I'm laughing. Same with when Ralph and Vanellope arrive to the website called eBay, sound familiar? To bid the most money on the steering wheel of Sugar Rush. And as it turns out, it costs money to grab the steering wheel from eBay. And again, I'm liking this sequence. Adults will understand the humor more than kids under the age of 8. And same with this eBay sequence. They have no choice but to get rich playing video games like Slaughter Race, where they meet Shank, voiced by Wonder Woman herself, Gal Gadot. I like Shank, and I think she's tough but a good racer like Vanellope is. Now Vanellope has a new game and role model, and Gal Gadot pulls that off very well after Wonder Woman as far as role models go. Ralph doesn't trust Shank, but Ralph finds another way to make more money thanks to her, and they meet Yes with 3 S's, voiced by Taraji P. Henson. And she cracks me up, and Ralph tries to make more attention and more money so he can afford the Sugar Rush steering wheel. The videos are remarkably hilarious in my opinion. Vanellope goes to the website of Disney and we see everything. For example, Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, and the Princess area. And Stormtroopers chase after Vanellope and joins the Disney princesses. And I'm not going to name them all, you know them I believe. I do like that C-3PO comes in and lets the princesses know 5 minutes before the show begins, and it's Anthony Daniels' voice, as well as the princess voices, and from the original movies. Not the live-action remakes, no, but the animated voices. I also like Vanellope breaks into song only once, even though I don't like musicals. It was the right thing to only put it in once. The Disney World scene was a pretty good sequence in general. Vanellope, after she sings that song, she thinks about living in the internet forever, and Ralph is heartbroken, or should I say, in the Slaughterhouse game, the race game, and Ralph is heartbroken after he makes the money for the steering wheel, and overhears their conversation, and Ralph tries to create a virus from Double Dan, voiced by Alfred Molina, and he plants it in Slaughter Race, and almost gets Vanellope killed because Ralph is selfish and wants Vanellope to stay with him, and she alienates him for a few minutes. And there's a million viruses of Ralph's as monsters, and Yes tells him he broke the internet with a virus full of his clones. And the real Ralph finds Vanellope and knows more in the hiding spot, and the cloned Ralphs turned into a giant monster-looking Ralphs and grabs Vanellope, and Ralph fights the monster, and they defeat it by talking about friendship, and Ralph accepts Vanellope's choice, which did feel sad, sure. And I really do like that fight between Ralph and Vanellope versus the giant Ralph monster. They have 6 months to visit each other and go back to work, and the point of life is eventually you have to grow up and accept it. And I like that message, to be honest with you. Credits roll, and there's 2 scenes. One during the credits, one after. The during the credits scene is Ralph beating the bunny versus kitty game, where you get, like the one that you see in the teaser trailer, where you give the kitty the milkshakes and the bunny gets the pancakes. And there's a load of pancakes and feed it to the poor bunny. I mean, honestly, until it explodes, which is very traumatizing for a kid. I believe she was either 5 or 6 years old, I feel like, to see the rabbit explode in a game. The after credits scene, when at first it's a sneak peek of Frozen 2, and I thought, oh my god. Because I'm going to just confess this now, guys. If anybody doesn't know this, I don't like Frozen. I think that movie is too overrated, and I'm not looking forward to seeing that sequel next year. But it's not really the images of Frozen 2, but it's Ralph singing a song from one of the trailers, which I found pretty funny, to be quite clear. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 8.3 out of 10. I like these characters in the sequel better than the first movie, and it's a lot of fun, and I think it's funny. I do like the Disney cameos and the new characters, and plus the old characters, and if there's a part 3, I'll be there that weekend when it comes out. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me for the Wreck-It Ralph series, and until next time, I'm gonna wreck it!